I quit my dream job to follow her to the city, believing love was worth every sacrifice. But she traded my loyalty for cheap laughter with a man who couldn't even afford his own suit. Before watching the video, please tell us in the comments, which country are you watching from? My name is Ethan Miles, and I am 32 years old. I thought I had everything a man could want: a steady job, a loyal wife, and a future that looked peaceful. I never imagined that love could turn into a lesson I'd never forget. Life was simple, almost beautiful. Every morning, I woke up next to Claire, the woman I thought was my forever. We lived in a small apartment with cracked walls, but her smile made every corner glow. I believed we were building something real, something strong enough to last a lifetime. I wasn't a rich man, but I was devoted. Every paycheck I earned went toward her dreams. New clothes, fancy dinners, little surprises she claimed made her feel special. She always said, "You make me feel safe, Ethan." Those words meant everything to me. I thought love was about sacrifice, about giving more than taking. But love, I learned later, can be cruel when it's only one-sided. Claire was beautiful, confident, the kind of woman who turned heads without trying. I felt proud walking beside her. I didn't notice how her eyes wandered when someone more charming entered the room. I mistook her restlessness for ambition, her silence for comfort. I didn't see the cracks forming beneath the surface. At work, I was finally finding my place. My colleagues respected me, and my boss trusted me with projects that mattered. Every success I credited to her. "We're doing it," I'd tell Claire. "Our life is finally coming together." She'd smile, but there was something in her eyes, a flicker I couldn't read then. Evenings were peaceful. We'd cook together, talk about travel, and dream about buying a home one day. I used to hold her hand at night, thinking I was the luckiest man alive. But luck has a way of running out quietly, without warning. One Friday evening, she mentioned an upcoming office party. My company was hosting its annual event, a night to celebrate our team's success. She looked unusually excited, more than I'd ever seen her about anything work-related. "I want to come with you," she said quickly. "I want to see where you work, meet your team." I hesitated for a moment. Claire wasn't usually the social type, but I shrugged it off. Maybe she wanted to share in my joy. I smiled and agreed. "Of course, I'd love for you to come." That night, as she talked about what she'd wear, something inside me stirred. I didn't know it then, but that single decision, letting her join me at the office party, would change everything. It was the calm before the storm, the final peaceful breath before betrayal would tear my world apart. I went to bed that night, unaware that the love I cherished was already slipping away piece by piece, hidden behind her perfect smile. The following week, Claire couldn't stop talking about the office party. She shopped for a new dress, spent hours deciding on the right perfume, and even booked a salon appointment. I teased her about treating it like a royal event. She laughed, but her laughter felt forced, almost rehearsed. I didn't think much of it. I wanted her to enjoy herself. Maybe she just wanted to feel special again. Marriage had slowed our excitement, and life had turned predictable. I convinced myself that this was her way of breaking the routine. Little did I know, she was preparing to step into someone else's attention. The evening arrived faster than I expected. I wore my best suit, the one Claire gifted me for my promotion last year. She came out of the bedroom wearing a shimmering blue dress that hugged her perfectly. For a moment, I forgot to breathe. Every man's dream was standing in front of me, and I was proud she was mine. But pride can be dangerous. It blinds you to what you should see. When we reached the hotel ballroom, the place was alive. Lights, laughter, music, and the scent of success. My colleagues greeted me warmly. I introduced Claire to everyone. She smiled like a queen, charming every person she met. My boss, Mr. Cooper, even said, "Ethan, you're a lucky man." I smiled back, unaware of the irony. Then she met Tyler. He was one of the new hires, young, carefree, and always looking for attention. He cracked a joke, and Claire laughed louder than necessary. I brushed it off, thinking she was just being friendly. But there was something in her eyes, a spark I hadn't seen directed at me in a long time. As the night went on, she kept finding excuses to talk to him. When I turned to get drinks, I caught her leaning closer, whispering something that made him blush. My chest tightened, but I forced a smile. This was my wife. I trusted her. That trust was my biggest mistake. I tried to focus on work conversations, but my attention drifted back to them. Every touch, every laugh felt like a slow stab to my pride. Still, I said nothing. I didn't want to seem insecure. I told myself, "You're imagining things, Ethan. She loves you." But deep inside, a voice whispered otherwise. When the party ended, she acted normal, cheerful, affectionate, even playful. She asked if I had fun. I said yes, but my mind was elsewhere. That night, as we drove home, I kept replaying her laughter with Tyler. I wanted to believe it was innocent, but my gut said it wasn't. In that car, silence sat between us like an uninvited guest. I didn't realize it then, but that silence was the beginning of my undoing. The cracks were forming, quiet, invisible, and deadly. The next morning, I tried to forget about the party. I told myself I was overthinking. Maybe Claire was just being friendly. Maybe Tyler's jokes were harmless. But deep down, the image of her laughing, touching his arm, and staring into his eyes burned inside me like acid. For years, I'd given her everything I had, my time, my loyalty, my dream. I never questioned her late-night calls with friends or her long hours scrolling on her phone. But after that night, every vibration of her phone made my heart race. Trust, once cracked, never feels the same again. She acted perfectly normal, maybe too normal. She hummed while cooking breakfast, texted with a small smile, and asked if I'd slept well. But her eyes, they avoided mine. I noticed every small detail now, every flicker of guilt she tried to hide behind fake warmth. 3 days passed, each one heavier than the last. She started dressing up more, saying she wanted to look presentable in case we bumped into my colleagues. Once, she even asked casually, "Hey, is Tyler coming to the next team lunch?" My stomach turned, but I forced a grin and said, "Probably." That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every moment from the party, her hand on his shoulder, the way she leaned in close, that spark of excitement she once had, only for me. I realized I was losing her, not to a better man, but to a weaker one, someone who made her feel admired without earning it. I tried to confront her gently. "Claire," I said, "I feel like something's changed. Are we okay?" She laughed and brushed it off, calling me paranoid. "Ethan, stop overthinking. You're always so serious," she said. But her tone wasn't loving. It was defensive, almost mocking. I went silent. I didn't want to fight. I wanted the truth. But truth rarely comes easy when someone's already chosen lies. That weekend, I saw a notification flash across her phone. "See you soon?" My hands shook, but I didn't open it. Not yet. I wanted to be sure. Anger could wait. Proof could not. That night, she fell asleep early. I sat on the couch, staring at her phone glowing on the table. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. Her laughter at that party was still ringing in my head, louder than any text message could be. Something inside me shifted. The pain turned cold, quiet, and deliberate. I wasn't going to shout. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to wait. Because when love dies in silence, revenge learns how to breathe. What would you do if someone you loved betrayed you like this? Comment below. After that night, everything changed inside me. I stopped asking questions. I stopped trying to fix what was already broken. I smiled when she smiled, laughed when she laughed. But every glance, every word she spoke, I studied like evidence. My heart had turned into a quiet investigator. Claire believed I had moved on. She thought my silence meant peace, but it was something far more dangerous, awareness. I watched her morning routines, her sudden obsession with checking her phone, her nervous giggles when messages came through. I noticed her deleting conversations before she showed me her screen. Each small act added up like pieces of a puzzle. She wasn't careless. She was confident. Too confident. That's how I knew she didn't fear getting caught. And that was my advantage. I wanted her comfort. I wanted her to believe I was blind, because only then could I see everything clearly. At work, I started paying attention to Tyler. He was naive, immature, the kind of man who mistook attention for affection. He flirted with every woman in the office. But with Claire, there was something different, something rehearsed. When I passed by his desk, he avoided eye contact. Guilt, even in silence, has a scent. I began to connect the dots. Her late-night walks to clear her head, her excuses for not answering calls, her sudden interest in my work schedule. It all fit too perfectly. I didn't confront her, not yet. Because sometimes, confrontation gives a liar a chance to prepare. I wanted the truth raw, undeniable, and public. 3 days after the party, she claimed she was meeting her old friend. Just coffee, nothing serious. I nodded and kissed her goodbye, pretending not to notice the extra perfume and the way she double-checked her reflection before leaving. I followed her quietly after a few minutes, staying just far enough behind. My heart pounded as I saw her meet him. Not an old friend, but Tyler. They sat close in a corner cafe, whispering, laughing like teenagers. I watched from outside the glass window, invisible among strangers. Every smile, every touch confirmed what I already knew. My wife wasn't mine anymore, but instead of anger, a strange calm washed over me. The truth didn't hurt as much as the lies I used to believe. That night, I acted normal. I asked how her coffee was. She said it was nice catching up. I smiled and said, "That's good." She didn't know I'd seen everything. I realized something powerful. Silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Because when you stop reacting, you start planning. And I was done being her fool. It was time to prepare for the day she'd face what she had done. Not privately, but in front of everyone who thought we were perfect. I wasn't broken anymore. I was ready. The next morning, I woke up early, calmer than I had been in weeks. Claire was still asleep, her phone clutched tightly in her hand, like a secret she couldn't afford to lose. I stared at her for a moment, realizing how far we'd fallen from the love we once knew. But I wasn't here to mourn anymore. I was here to prepare. At work, I greeted everyone normally, but inside, I was sharpening my focus. I started spending more time near the security team, learning how the office cameras worked. My boss trusted me, and when I mentioned a minor internal issue that needed reviewing, he gave me permission to access the video archives. I smiled politely, but my heart was already racing. That afternoon, I found what I was looking for, the footage from the night of the office party. I sat in the small control room, the glow of the monitor flickering against my face. There she was, my wife, standing close to Tyler, laughing, brushing her hair behind her ear, her eyes filled with a warmth I hadn't seen in months. Then came the moment that broke me and freed me all at once. She leaned closer and whispered something that made him blush, his hand resting gently on her waist. I didn't flinch. I didn't shout. I just pressed pause and exhaled. Proof. Cold, undeniable proof. I copied the clips onto a flash drive, not to humiliate her, not yet, but to keep the truth safe. I knew how people twist stories when caught. I wanted the evidence ready for when words wouldn't be enough. That evening, I acted like nothing was wrong. I cooked dinner, poured wine, and listened to her stories about her busy day. Every lie rolled off her tongue effortlessly, and I nodded as if I believed every word. Her confidence was my greatest weapon. She had no idea the walls around her were closing in. For days, I waited. I watched. I collected every trace of her betrayal. Screenshots, messages, whispers between co-workers who thought I couldn't hear. I was building a quiet fortress of truth, and soon it would all come crashing down on her. One night, as we sat together watching a movie, she reached for my hand and smiled. That same smile that once melted me now felt hollow. Rehearsed, I squeezed her hand back gently and whispered, "You know, the truth always comes out, Claire." She looked at me, confused for a moment, then laughed nervously. I smiled too, because I wasn't threatening her. I was promising her future. Her lies had become my motivation, her betrayal my blueprint. Soon, she'd see exactly how much strength silence can hold. The trap was set, and the truth was waiting. The day finally came. It was a Tuesday morning, calm, ordinary, and silent. No one in the office had any idea what was about to unfold. I arrived early, dressed neatly, carrying my laptop and the small flash drive that held everything. My heart wasn't racing anymore. It was steady, focused, ready. Claire texted me good luck, saying she hoped my meeting went well. The irony almost made me laugh. She had no idea this meeting wasn't about business. It was about betrayal. Our company's weekly staff meeting gathered everyone in the main conference room. My boss, Mr. Cooper, started with his usual updates, numbers, and plans. I waited patiently, pretending to listen, my hands resting calmly on the laptop. When he asked if anyone had new insights to share, I raised my hand. "I do," I said, standing up. All eyes turned toward me. "There's something important everyone needs to see." Mr. Cooper nodded. "Go ahead, Ethan." I walked to the projector and plugged in my flash drive. The room dimmed, and the screen flickered to life. The first clip played. Claire and Tyler at the office party. At first, people smiled, thinking it was a fun memory. But then the laughter faded. Her hand touched his arm. He whispered something. She leaned closer, smiling in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. The air grew thick with silence. Someone gasped. Tyler's face went pale. Claire's laughter, captured on video, echoed through the room like poison. Mr. Cooper frowned. "What is this?" I turned to him calmly. "Evidence," I said quietly, "of what happens when trust is betrayed, both at work and at home." Whispers spread across the table. Tyler stood up, stammering, trying to speak. Claire wasn't there, but everyone knew. Within minutes, word spread through the office like wildfire. Her perfect image, the woman who loved attention, was now the center of humiliation. Not by rumor, but by proof. I didn't raise my voice or celebrate. I just watched the truth finally breathe in open air. For 3 days she'd laughed behind my back. Now, the world was laughing at her lies. After the meeting, Tyler tried to talk to me. "Ethan, man, I didn't mean..." I cut him off. You meant every word you said to her, and now you'll live with them. By the end of the day, Tyler was called into HR. He left the building with his head down, his reputation shattered. Claire called me repeatedly, her voice shaking with anger and fear. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She knew exactly what I'd done. That night, I sat in silence, staring out the window. I didn't feel joy, just peace. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. It's about truth, finally standing tall where lies once stood. If you were in my place, would you forgive or walk away? Tell me in comments. The next morning, everything felt different. The office buzzed with quiet whispers. No one said my name out loud, but I could feel their eyes on me, half pity, half respect. Tyler had vanished from the building, escorted out before lunch. Claire's name was now a story that spread faster than truth itself. At home, the silence was heavier than ever. My phone kept lighting up, her name flashing again and again. At first, I ignored it, but when she started leaving voicemails, I finally listened. Her voice cracked with desperation. Ethan, please, let me explain. It wasn't what it looked like. I made a mistake. Please call me. A mistake. That word made my blood boil. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, not choosing another man over your husband. When I finally answered, her tone shifted from guilt to panic. You ruined me, Ethan. Everyone saw that video, she shouted through tears. I stayed calm, my voice cold and steady. No, Claire, you ruined yourself. I just stopped protecting your lies. She begged to meet, to talk it through, to fix things, but there was nothing left to fix. Love built on lies can't be repaired. It can only collapse. I told her I'd be staying at a friend's place and hung up. Her cries echoed through the speaker before I ended the call. That night, I packed my clothes, my documents, and the few memories that still mattered. As I zipped up my bag, I found a photo, the two of us at our wedding, smiling like fools who thought forever was real. I stared at it for a moment, then tore it in half. The next few days felt strangely peaceful. I went to work, focused harder, ate better, and even started running again. Every mile I ran felt like I was outrunning the version of myself who once begged for love. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. Friends called to check in. Some said I was too harsh. Others said I was brave. But none of them knew what it felt like to see the person you sacrificed everything for, laughing with someone who hadn't earned a single piece of your loyalty. Claire tried again, one last time. She came to the office lobby, tears streaking her face. Please, Ethan, she whispered. I miss you. I'll do anything. I looked at her for a long moment. The woman I once loved was gone, replaced by someone I couldn't trust. I wish you the best, Claire, I said quietly, but I'm done living in your shadow. Then I walked away, and for the first time in years, I didn't look back. Months passed, and the storm that once ruled my life finally began to fade. The city felt brighter, quieter. I had moved into a smaller apartment on the edge of town, nothing fancy, peaceful. For the first time in years, I could breathe without wondering who was lying beside me. Work was different too. My boss appreciated my focus, my calmness. Some called me the man who exposed the truth, though I never bragged. I didn't do it for attention. I did it because silence deserves justice when love becomes a game. Claire tried to reach out a few more times. Her messages turned from apology to anger, from guilt to nostalgia. You've changed, she wrote once. She was right. I had changed, not into someone bitter, but into someone stronger. I had learned that revenge isn't about ruining others. It's about rebuilding yourself without them. On quiet nights, I'd sit on my balcony, sipping coffee, watching the street lights glow. I used to wonder what she was doing, if she regretted everything, if she thought of me. But I stopped caring about the answers. Her chapter in my story had ended. Mine was just beginning. Friends introduced me to new people. I laughed again, slowly, awkwardly at first. I wasn't looking for love, just peace. Sometimes, peace is the sweetest form of revenge. One evening, I saw her by accident at a cafe downtown. She looked smaller somehow, tired. Our eyes met for a brief second. She smiled faintly, as if to say, I remember. I nodded once, nothing more. There was no hate, no anger, just closure. She looked away first. That's when I knew I had won. Walking away that night, I realized something powerful. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone back into your life. It means releasing the grip they had on your pain. And I had done exactly that. I didn't need to destroy her reputation any further. The truth had already done that. She was living with her choices, and I was living free from them. That was enough. Life taught me that betrayal doesn't end you. It refines you. It breaks what was weak so what's strong can finally emerge. And though my heart had been burned, it healed stronger, sharper, wiser. Now, when I look back, I don't see loss. I see transformation. I see the man I became because of the pain she caused. And strangely, I'm thankful. Because sometimes, Losing someone you thought you needed is how you find the person you were meant to be. This is how my wife betrayed me. Should I forgive or move on? Tell me in comments. If this story spoke to your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these real stories alive.